All right, this project is called Selections Collage, and the goal of this assignment is to practice making selections in Photopea. So to start off, I want to draw your attention to the instructions in Google Classroom. So what you're supposed to do is pick 10 images, and that represent some of your favorite things. So it could be the kind of drink you like to drink, your favorite food, sport that you play, any hobbies that you have, just anything that you would consider one of your favorite things. And you're going to first find those images in Google search, and I'll show you how to get good large sized images that have a high resolution that are going to look the best in your project. And then to get started, we're going to create a project that is 8.5 by 11, which is standard paper size, and 300 pixels per inch resolution. And the other thing you'll want to note is that you have at least 10 different images. All the background should be removed from the images, and then only 3 of your images can be on solid backgrounds. So I'll show you the difference between something on a solid background and one that's not. All right, so let's get started. The first thing I want to do is take you through how to search for images. So let's just go ahead and search for something. Let's say you like ice cream. You're going to look for an image of an ice cream cone. So here your results are in thumbnail view, and so as you're looking through these, you may be tempted to just right click or 2-finger tap on a Chromebook your thumbnail image and save this image. There's no way to know the resolution of this thumbnail, and on top of that, this is usually a smaller version than what the actual image is. This is just how it loads in Google search. So what you would be downloading would be a very small, low resolution image. So to avoid that, we're going to do a couple things. First, click on, just below the search bar, there should be a button for tools. And the first option on the left there is size. This allows you to filter out any small or medium-sized images and just focus on the large images. So click on large. Now your results will be a higher resolution image. So I already have a few images. I'm going to choose this one on purpose because it is on a solid background. So this would be one of the 3 that I could use as one of my objects on a solid background. So once you have selected it, it loads on the right hand side. And if you scroll over the image, there should be in the lower right hand corner the actual pixel dimensions for the image, and you want to make sure that it's in the thousands of pixels. That, generally speaking, would be a larger sized image. And once you have that preview there, you can right click or 2-finger tap this one and choose to save the image, and this would be the larger sized image, the nice resolution one. You can rename it if you'd like to, and then click save. So it says insecure. For some reason, the website that it's grabbing it from doesn't like that. So if that happens, you may need to just choose a different one. Let's go ahead and go try this one here. All right, that one worked. Okay, so now we're ready. I've downloaded a few images already for myself. Let's go ahead and go into Photopea. And from the instructions, you'll want to change, first of all, start a new project. You can either click that button to go to File and then choose New. And then you'll want to choose from the defaults here. You could find Print. This is just a shortcut, how to get to the correct size. So 8.5 11 is the basic letter size paper. Or at the top here, you can choose instead of pixels, switch that to inches since the instructions are in inches. and then change that to 8.5 by 11 inches. And then the resolution should be 300 pixels per inch. So I will need to change that as well. Whoops. Go ahead and change that again. There we go. All right, once those are changed, the other thing you could do right away if you want something other than a white background is click this little thumbnail and choose a different color for your background. I'm going to choose a bluish color here. And then click on Create. Now you'll see your workspace open up, and now you can start to import your images that you've downloaded. So to place an image, you'll click on File, and then you want to make sure you do Open and Place. If I were to choose Open, it would just open the image in a separate document. This Open and Place opens it and then places it in the current document. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this chocolate cone. And the reason I chose this is on a solid background. And these are probably the easiest ones to remove the background from, because you can simply use one tool, usually the magic wand, because the magic wand focuses on selecting color groups. So if I simply choose the magic wand and click once on the background, it has selected all of the background with one click really easily. So in this example, one of the other things that is different that we learned last week is how to use the mask to hide things instead of deleting pixels. So this is called a non-destructive way of editing. So you still retain the background, you just hide it. So if I click on, this is the button you want to find in the layers panel towards the bottom, is this button here that says Add Raster Mask. And what this does is it hides everything that is not selected. So on purpose I'm going to do this. It's going to do the opposite of what I want, but I'm just going to show you. So I have the background selected right now. I'm going to click on this, and it hides whatever was not selected. So right in this instance, it's hiding the ice cream cone because I had selected the background. So I want to do the opposite of what I just did. So I'm going to undo that with Control Z. And before I create my raster mask, I want to invert this selection. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Select and then Inverse. And then it's going to select everything outside. Oh no, it's going to select the cone, and then it's going to select the blue background because it was part of the document, and that's not going to matter for now. So we're just going to simply click the Add Raster Mask, and there we have it. We've removed or hidden, in this case, the background. So this would be one item. From this point you could grab the item with the Move tool, and if you'd like to, I always would recommend having the transform controls on. And it's a little bit annoying to see the box, but just try to look past that. It's just really helpful to have it available anytime you need to move or rotate an object. So I'm going to rotate this cone a little bit, and you may want to do, as eventually once you get 10 items, you may want to resize it and reposition them just to make it look interesting. So that would be one item. So let's go ahead and add another item in here. I'm going to choose File, Open and Place. I'm going to use this baseball that I downloaded earlier. So once you have an image in mind, you'll want to just kind of observe and select your tool based on what is probably the easiest, quickest way to get rid of the background with a good result. So because this is a circular object, I'm going to use the Ellipse Select tool and then just simply create a circle. So as you're drawing your circle out, again, don't forget you can use the space bar. If you hold that down while you're creating your shape, you can reposition it. And I'm on purpose going to kind of cut off part of the ball because you're not going to know that it was there. So I'm going to go ahead and just click this here, releasing my click button. And at this point, I could change this selection by using the select option at the top and choose transform selection if I'm not super happy with it. I want to kind of adjust a couple of things. So now I can reposition or resize the circle to get the results that I want that are the best. So that looks pretty good for now. And right now I have the object that I want to retain selected. So this is where it becomes pretty easy. I'm just going to simply click on the mask option, and that's going to remove the background. So that's pretty simple. I go ahead and zoom out again. So the zoom and the pan or the hand tool are found towards the bottom of the tools on the left. There are shortcuts for this, and we'll go over that in class. But if you need to zoom in or out, you can choose the zoom tool, and then once you have it selected, a click would zoom in, and if you want to zoom out, you would switch to the minus symbol at the top, and then click to zoom out. And then to move your project around in space, you could use the hand tool, and that just kind of grabs it and moves it around. All right, let's get a little bit more challenging of an image. This will probably be my last example. So I'm going to open in place, and I'm going to grab a hamburger. All right, so this object, obviously I can't use just a simple circle select, and it's not completely on a solid background, although I probably could, if I wanted to retain this wooden platter, I could use the magic wand. But I want to just select just the burger here. So I'm going to use a different selection tool. So the lasso tool is a freehand tool. If you've never tried to draw with a mouse before, it is surprisingly difficult. So it's really hard to freehand just trace accurately this whole thing. So I'm not even going to try that. So I'm going to try one of the more intelligent tools. Either the quick select or the object select would probably give similar results. Let's go ahead and do the quick select first. So the way this works is you find where your cursor is, and you want to start just kind of click, hold, and kind of paint your object. Well, this with one click selected a lot of stuff. So it selected the burger and the platter, and like I mentioned, I want to just have the burger without this wood thing. So I'm going to try to remove that. So right now my selection is in unite mode. So if I wanted to add more to this selection, I would keep it there. But I want to try to subtract from this current selection. So I'm going to click on the minus symbol. I'm trying to paint out the wooden platter. So there I just clicked one time and slightly moved the mouse, and it determined it's looking for edges. So it's finding the edge of kind of the shadow of the burger around the platter. That's where there's a different tone of colors there. So that's one edge, and it kind of just shrunk it in to the burger, which is exactly what I wanted. It's doing a really good job. So right now this is a decent selection, but I'm just going to click on the mask to show you the result. You can see there's a lot of issues with this. Obviously looks like it was cut out, and there's a lot of jaggedy stuff that's not really good. So we're going to try to make that better. I'm going to Control Z to undo that. So there's a big section here that was missing, and then there's some of this stuff here that's just distracting the shadowy area. So I'm going to use a combination of tools. Right now I think this is probably the best I can do with this tool. So I'm going to switch to some other tools to get a better selection. So the lasso tool is not great at making the majority of the selection, but it is really good at cleaning up where things are missing or needed to be added or subtracted. So I'm going to use the lasso tool to remove some of this stuff. So if I'm removing from the selection, you want to make sure at the top in the options that you're choosing to subtract from the current selection. So I'm going to click on subtract, and again this is the freehand tool, so I'm just going to try to freehand draw. And so I'm going to click over here in the shadow and then draw along the edge of the bun down below. I'm just going to do a small chunk at this point, and then draw a larger circle around the selection. And once I've encircled it, it gets rid of that. I have a little tiny piece here left, so I'll just draw a quick circle around that. And because I'm in subtract mode, it's going to remove that selection. So that has cleaned this up quite a bit. And around this edge, I kind of want a really kind of smooth edge. So I'm going to transition to the polygonal, kind of hard to say, polygonal lasso tool. And I'm going to click around, whoops. I want to make sure that I'm in the right mode before I do anything. So I have this tool selected, but I forgot to check the options up above. So I was in replace. So as soon as I clicked, it got rid of my original selection and started a new one. So I want to make sure I'm in the subtract mode for this tool. I'm going to click just along the edge of the bun here. And a few clicks because I don't want it to be too straight of a line. Just kind of following along. This may end up looking a little bit jaggedy, but at this point, this is just all about practice. So I don't expect it to look perfect for your first time. So I'm just selecting down below to make sure I get the selection removed. So that looks pretty good. So I'm going to use the hand tool to pan my image over so I can see this part over here. So I have a little bit of bun that's missing over here, and then a little bit of the background that's selected. So here I'm going to add to this selection. So again, I could use the lasso tool. Make sure I'm in this is called unite mode. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw along the bun here. And then inside, just draw a circle around whatever is missing. And then it gets added to the selection. And I want to add this up here. There's a little bit of the lettuce that's in the shadows. And then this big section here that was for some reason not included. I'm going to draw all along that and then close the shape. So now all of that's added. I have a little tiny piece right here that I'm just going to go ahead and add. So I fixed that. There's this little tiny piece here that needs to be removed. So again, I'm going to go to subtract. And then just draw a quick circle around that piece. All right, now I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so I can see, make sure this is what I want it to look like. Just checking around the selection to see what it looks like. That looks really good. All right, so now my last step is I'm going to click on this mask, a raster mask, to hide the background. So there's my nice tasty burger. Again, at this point, you'd want to maybe zoom out and look at your placement of your items. So the best way to do this with the move tool is I don't recommend leaving the auto select, because once you get a lot of objects overlapping, it's hard to know which one you're going to pick and move. So I would suggest leaving auto select off and selecting your layers in the layers panel. So here I want to move the hamburger, so that's the layer that's selected here. So I'm going to go ahead and now move this where I want to put it and rotate it if you want to, or change the size by grabbing a corner. And you can be creative in the way that you arrange your objects, but eventually you'll have 10 different objects. I've showed you 3 different ways to select things, and the whole goal of this project is to practice using the different selection tools and making as good and accurate a selection as you can without making it spending hours and hours on it. So just do your best, and let me know if you have any questions.